thought I'd start out uh, in the shop here, showing you guys what's been going on for Train Expo, getting ready for that. And we're still doing some locomotive maintenance on the 1225 here, and as you recall from last month, we cleaned out the smoke box and the fire box, and I got a video of it being put back in the shop after we did the boiler wash. Unfortunately, some of the sediments in the boiler have resettled, and we gotta re-clean the mud ring in the back here on the locomotive. Actually, you might be able to see a little bit of it here on the spout from the drain plug. So stuff like this, it's a little gritty, but you can just barely see a little bit of it in here. Yeah, a little bit on my finger there. The rust. You can see the dark speckles that are inside that kind of settled once the wire dried up. But we're going to get that all done there pretty soon. They're still working on the jacketing on the locomotive. As you recall, for the last maintenance video, they were redoing what we had done for the March excursion, and they've come a pretty long ways. I mean, they had to redo a bunch of it just to make it look correct and get it on there. On the other side, they've already added the straps onto it. Although, well, here's one right here. They do have a couple of straps here, the ones that go on under the sand dome here. So those are on there, and if you look closely, you can see where they've screwed them in, because they haven't been painted yet. So they're done good right there. We still have the dome off, because when we do finish the mudroom, we're gonna go in with the fire hose and clean that off like that. You might be able to get away with just putting it up into the washout plugs. So there's that happening, and finishing the jacketing, as I mentioned. Gotta pull out next week and fix a leak on the turret. Just add a new gasket to it. Hopefully that'll keep it from leaking like it was during the last few months during the excursions. Besides the 1225, we have our first visitor arrived, the Leviathan. As you recall, it was here for 2009 at the last train festival, and that was its actual big reveal. It's under a big tarp right now to protect it from the work we're doing here in the shop. It's here for a month beforehand because, well, it had nothing else going on, and this is just easy enough for it to do. It's number 63, Central Pacific Railroad. It's the replica of the one that was built in 1868, and they put it and the tender in here, and they reattached the diamond stack and some other devices like the hoses, but they did not put the headlight back on, which is on a pedestal, which is covered up there. But altogether, it's pretty well in one piece. You can actually see underneath here, just to prove it's in one piece. And then Mr. Klump did a lot of detailed work on it. This is about as close as you're allowed to get to it. As you can see, the injector here, it's all brass, so it's a pretty ornate locomotive. Although it's a replica of the one that ran. It is an actual working steam locomotive, and it's good that it's here now, and it's ready to go. It's the first guest to arrive. Hopefully we'll be getting some more guests in the next couple weeks. Anyway, over here you can see we're still got the power car in. It's been giving us some trouble. We had to fix some spots in the body, get welded, bonded up, and it is now almost done. The other side is done. The only thing on this side left is add the blue right here, and that'll be done. So you can see how well it is done here. We got some Sherwin-Williams paint, but higher grade stuff, so it's pretty expensive. You put a couple layers on there and it is good to go. He'll be in here on Tuesday to finish it up. So we got, he even did the trucks. The trucks are black and so is the roof. You can't really see there, but on the other side you can. This used to be this was built as a World War II troop sleeper car back in 1943, and the D&M later got it. As you can see, right here is the old D&M paint. We didn't want to cover that up, so we masked over it and then sprayed around it. Although we got a little overspray with the yellow on this side, we'll just have that redone. We'd like to put a diaphragm on this end to seal it up, but I think that's still in the future going forth. So, but we'll have everything ready for Train Expo, able to run. So on this side, you can see it's all finished. You got the black, yellow, blue, and the imitation aluminum along the bottom. Chris Kurzweil, our treasurer, MS2RP, did a pretty good job with it, and it's pretty much all ready to go. Don't know if he's gonna paint the filler cap red or not there on the tank, but we'll see. He found some more spots here that he cleaned off and they kind of eat through, so we'll Bondo that up there and repaint it. Just a little touch up and he'll be good to go. Now I'm gonna go in here and show you inside. So this is inside the power car now, and it's kind of dark, but we got the window open, and it gives you enough light to see in here. Got the windows on this side still masked, as well as let's see, the openings down here. Are they open? Nope, the vents are all closed. Okay. I can't really tell. It's pretty dark, but okay. So we got all our supplies in here to run electricity. We got the fuel tank, and down here, of course, is the big Detroit diesel. Originally, like I said, this car was a troop sleeper during World War II. After the war, it was sold off to the Detroit and McAllen Railway, and they converted it into a baggage type car. But they, I don't think they did it first off, but they later made it into a steam generator car. So there would have been a small steam boiler in here instead of the engine. And the louvers, the vents back there, were not in originally because it had all the steam lines coming off of it through the bottom of the car. But the power plant is basically like what would have been, only it had the steam boiler attached to it. And then sometime, I guess during the 1970s, I think they said it was, they converted it to the Detroit diesel. And I guess that was more efficient for them. And of course then they put the louvers in to keep it cool down. The baggage door on this side does open. There was originally one on this side too, but of course this is where the big vent goes to draw in the air for the diesel. And out there's the big exhaust system. It's that's basically a big muffler, and then there's a spout on top, a stack, just like you'd have on a semi or a tractor, and that's where all the exhaust goes. It burns pretty cleanly. I mean, it's a Detroit diesel, and you can see across the top there. And I got my phone on me here. Let me see if I can light that for you. You can kind of see it, Detroit diesel. Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty decent size. You can't really tell it, but I want to get this again when we go outside and we'll show you the whole thing. But this is just a preview of what you're going to see. So this car wasn't specifically converted to run full passenger trains on the D&M. Just its business train, basically 2 or 3 cars. We used to have the D&M business car here, but it got sold to R.J. Corman, and he got painted red. Anyway, this is all the wood trimming back here has been painted black to match the end of the car, and Yeah, it's almost finished, and we'll see it outside next month. We've had some miscellaneous projects going around SRI, and one of them is the speeder car project, which again, Chuck and Nick Snow are working on. So we're calling it the Snowmobile, and they got it all covered up here to protect their work. They want to get some coverings for it that'll be more permanent, kind of like a canvas to go along the sides, but they want to paint it first, so they got it all covered up in preparation for that. I'm still working on the box car over here during the free time, and I've gotten to where I'm cleaning off the top of the A end here, which is the end of the car without the brake wheel, and I got most of the top on this side. I'm going to be working to hopefully strip those old vinyl, what's left of those vinyl letters and numbers off, because those are the worst looking things on here, just like I did on the side of the car here. And hopefully I'll be able to get all this chip paint off and have that primered. Hopefully before the Expo next month. I got a couple weeks that I won't be here, but you can see where it's chipped along here. And I gotta get that all patched up. Then I gotta do the ladder. So a lot of work to do on this car. And then down here, I actually did get some primer. I got the rest of the letters off where it said Ann Arbor, and I had to use the wire wheel, so I primered it afterwards, and hopefully next couple of weeks I'll get the new paint on here so it'll match the rest of the car. The door here had problems though. I was primering along and came up upon some rough spots, so I tried to get them and ended up putting some holes here in the ribbing, so I'm going to get some Bondo and get those all cleaned up too. There's some spots here. I'm just gonna Bondo them anyway. Like here's a hole that's trying to form. There's another one here on the side. So hopefully I'll get that all sanded down, Bondoed up, and then re-primered and repainted. Probably not all before the Expo, but we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if they're gonna use this car for display or not, but they'll probably use something else. Anyway, there'll be an update on that when I get close to finished. Another freight car project update. Just watch for those videos. The original one was posted in November, so go see that. We got the 76 out here, and as you can see, the Explorers have come a long way on it. And I need to do an update on it pretty soon. And we'll see that happening. They were sandblasting the cab again just yesterday and got it all primered, so we'll see that too. We've been cleaning up the side of the building here, trying to get everything organized so that's ready for the Expo. I gotta come back here and mow the lawn because we had all that crap all spread out back here last time I mowed it. Now the grass is getting tall. The grass is actually tall all over the place here. I mowed it once just to see how it was going to grow, and probably should have learned my lesson from last year, but I didn't want to kill it right off because it's still late April and it was questionable whether it was going to all come back. And now we got this project here, which is going to be after the generator car, which you saw earlier. That's going to be the next in the shop, and let me take a moment to explain that. Okay, so this is our gift shop car, MSTX 1363, originally built as the kitchen car of a U.S. Army hospital train in 1953 by the St. Louis Car Company in St. Louis, Missouri, and it never saw action on the battlefront because of how late it was built, so it never got shipped to Korea, along with a bunch of other cars. If you remember back a few years ago, before the 765 was here, they took our former display cars with them, which were the actual triage and operating cars for the hospital train that this car would have also been a part of. They were all built the same year by St. Louis. As you can see, the paint that we put on this car back 7 years ago now is coming off because the paint that was under it originally is starting to show through. Just there was a dark blue with the yellow stripes on here, trying to match the Via cars like they were, but then those all faded and this car looked dark. So we just put in the Pere Marquette inspired C and O colors, and it looked fine for a while, but now the damage that was underneath of that and the original paint is starting to show through. Originally this car was painted Amtrak when we got it, and I think 1362 is still around. I think it's either in New York or Pennsylvania. If anyone from those areas knows where that car is exactly, I should know where it is, but it's in another museum, so the sister of this car is still out there. As you can see, this side is kind of worse. We're going to be bringing this in the shop next week. We're actually going to do a full body rehabilitation, a cheaper kind. We're just going to take the orbital sanders and strip down the old paint on here, smooth it all out, and we're going to, as you can see, like these areas here, where there's a big hole trying to poke through, where there's any damage, we might try and cut out along the sill and weld that back up. The smaller stuff won't be as much of a problem. We'll just take a bunch of Bondo and smooth over that, and then sand it down so that will match the rest of the car. And from there, the body will actually be sprayed on, just like the generator car, but since the roof is just smooth black, we'll just take some rollers to that first and get that all nice looking. This car actually has a bad problem with leaking, so hopefully when we bring it in the shop next week we'll be able to remedy that. Not sure about the trucks. They should be black, but on the other side, as you saw, they're actually silver. Not sure whose idea that was. Just leave them silver, so but we'll see what happens. And we gotta get the end too. We'd like to replace that light, the markers at the back. Well, this one's still in there though. This one, hopefully we can get sealed up before something gets in there and starts trying to live in there. The other equipment here, we'd like to get the burrow crane out on display. We do have the new hook on there that we got from the Huckleberry Willard in trade for a potbelly stove, and I guess it works fine. I haven't seen it in operation though. We'll see. We'd like to get the rest of it painted. And the tool car will not be finished by the Expo, but hopefully after that we'll have the money to get it in the C&O colors as well. It's still the green weenie for right now. Taking one final walk down here, we cleaned out all over the place and put on the sides of the tracks here, all from the side of the building, which we got all cleaned up here. And we're trying to clean out this spot over here where the 76's tender is. Not sure if we're going to move that before the Expo or not, because it needs a lot of work done to it really before it can be moved. We got some pails over here to start the fires in the locomotives, and some sheet metal that's left over. We got lights from crossings and signals waiting to go, and some miscellaneous junk back there that we're going to get cleaned up. Don't know if any of it's salvageable yet. Some of it looks to be in okay shape. Got the 7.5 gauge over there. I'll show you. Got the trucks that came with the Leviathan on it. All waiting for stuff to do. We got the drop table over here, the whiting, waiting to either be restored or sold to someone else so we can get a better one. And I should mention the combine is going to have some work done to it. Not sure what yet. I think it's going to be mostly interior stuff, because we want to use it on the North Pole Express runs in November, December for a very special upgrade to the train. We got the cabooses down here, the Ann Arbor ones, and we also have the D&M gondola, which is now full of coal. Yeah, that's right, we're gonna be using this one for the Expo. And as you recall, last time you saw it, it was back by the turntable there, way in the back, behind everything, and we decided that we're gonna have so many steam locomotives here, we need extra coal. So we got the pile filled and the excavator ready to go with it. And then we got this car out and cleaned it out. It had a bunch of twigs and pieces of tree bark and lots of old fill dirt in it, and we found some holes in it. We were trying to clean it out. They weren't as bad as we thought, so we patched up what we could, and then made sure that it was usable to put the coal in. Of course, it's not going to be traveling very far here on the ground, so it should be good to go, despite the holes that are in it. I don't know if you can see any up here. Well, kind of. They're very small. You can see where the paint's coming off on the bottom, but not really any holes. But all in all, it's in good enough shape to use. I was hoping we could get the sandblaster out here and sandblast the sides of it and get it all primered up, but I don't think we're gonna have enough time for that. But it won't be the center of attention here. Getting new parking lights. One of the big tent that's gonna be back here. We won't have the second tent. We'll have a smaller hospitality tent for the vendors to go and have a break-in, but there won't be a second tent. We're gonna have the big Lego layout inside the actual museum. I'm going to be trying to raise money for the Pear Marquette caboose as well, either through a grant or through some of the funding we get from the Expo, to get that done after the Expo for North Pole Express. So we'll have 3 cabooses on the train this year. Anyway, we've done a lot of work here on the 7.5-inch gauge miniature train. And as you can see here, we took out the embankment here that had the tracks going up to it, so we could load and unload the cars and locomotives. And instead, what we got is we got a track leading up to a new transfer table and lift bridge. And we've got it all graded out up to the pad here, and got the table on the pad. We repainted it, and it's ready to go. We're going to put some new decking on it though. Get that all done. New plank work. And we got the posts going in for the steaming bays, which are basically these raised pieces here, these steel works. And we got them all primered, and I guess we're going to paint them all black once they're up there. We're gonna have a bunch over here. I think there's gonna be 7 of them to do maintenance and firing up of the steam locomotives. I think there's gonna be a couple over on this side. It's gonna be so you could load and unload your trailers on either side here, and then take them to the steaming bays on either side. So a lot going on. And of course, when they're done, they go on here onto the main line. Got more track work going on. At the other end, they're putting in a double loop to make it easier to load and unload passengers. More track work all on the line. Eventually, we'd like to have a bridge down where the 2 sections meet, so that way it makes drainage of these areas back here easier, and there'll be less flooding. So in the future, hopefully that'll get funded. You can show your support by coming out to the Expo. We got 3 tracks running up to the container now, which in the future we'd like to have painted as an actual back shop. And we'd like to have the tracks run along the side here, a couple of them. Not this track. This is just one that was pulled out recently. I'd like to have a couple here and a lean-to built on the side covering extra cars we get. So right now this one in the middle is a dead-end siding until we get tracks, the middle side tracks into the building. And we now have electric pretty much gone in. We got the spout here for the outlets going all the way back to the main building back there. And we got it all graded back here too after we got it all in. There's a lot going on. You'll see a lot of improvements coming out to the Expo June 20th, 21st, and 22nd, 2014. And show your support for the Steam Railroading Institute, as well as the other organizations that show up here. And we hope to see you then. We'll be running the 1225 and the 765 and the Leviathan and the 110, all the tank engines, and probably some diesel visitors too. We're not sure which ones are coming just yet. Hopefully that'll be announced soon, but yeah, it's going to be a real beehive of activity around here. So from Owasso, really getting things done.